Revenge films. My husband suddenly became a minimalist. It was annoying because he started telling me to throw away all of my stuff, including all of my equipment I used to work at home. And while I was asleep, some of my work equipment was gone, and I couldn't get a hold of my husband because he had already left for work. I looked through the garbage and searched the closet, but I couldn't find any of it. When I asked about it when he got home, he told me,
I didn't throw it away, I just hid it. I wanted you to experience how nice it is not to have so much stuff. You see how clean your workspace looks?
So I told him, do what you want with your own stuff, but don't touch my things. When I got mad at him, he ended up telling me stories about legendary minimalists for hours. Oh man, I decided to lock my room up. I tried explaining to him why, but he didn't understand at all.
That's like living apart in the same house.
He started saying, by the way, my room was just as organized as a room that you'd see at an open house. But according to my husband, it was still not minimal enough. He ended up giving me back my stuff, but my laptop was covered in dust from being hidden on top of the refrigerator. It was a laptop that I'd been using ever since I started working from home, and I was sad because I had been taking such good care of it. I wiped it off, along with the top of the fridge, and told him, I'm not going to try to stop you from being a minimalist, but please stay away from my possessions.
I want the entire house to be minimal.
Just stick to your own stuff.
What about you rent another room for work then? That way you can separate your work from home. What do you think?
Do you know what you're suggesting? I purchased this room as a workspace that I could live in. You were the one that moved into my house, remember?
Why are you so mad? I think it's because of all this useless stuff you surround yourself with. There was this guy who went minimal, and even his mind quieted down.
If you want to stay at my house, don't touch my things. How's that for minimal? If you can't agree to that, you can get out of here.
When I moved in, you said that this house was both of ours.
Yeah, that applied to the man I married, who didn't throw other people's things away without permission. But I can't live with you if that's what you've become.
What the hell? We're married. Are you saying that I have no freedom?
This conversation was going nowhere, so I decided to call my mother and told my in-laws over the next day. I told my husband that we needed our parents there to help us sort things out, and he agreed. When they came over, my mother said, Wow, look how clean your house is. My husband responded,
Yeah, I clean the house every day. It's so easy when there's no stuff.
I was the one vacuuming the house every day while he was at work, though. Anyways, I explained the situation to our parents and how I couldn't work if he threw away my work equipment, and their expressions changed. That's not good, my mother said with a straight face. But my husband proceeded to preach about how wonderful it was to live minimally, and that in order to be true minimalist, he needed the cooperation of everyone in the family. When we told him that he should just do that with his own things, he didn't seem convinced. My in-laws were getting worn out from my husband's preaching. I started to feel bad for them, and just as I was prepared to stop him, my in-laws said,
Can we call your sister over?
So, 30 minutes later, my sister-in-law arrived. Her first words were, Wow, it's so clean in here. Do you guys really live here? She looked excited. My husband was happy to respond.
Right? Have you heard of minimalism?
And started preaching to her as well. I tried throwing in my 2 cents here and there, and after listening, my sister-in-law said, Minimalism sounds cool. I've always wanted to try, and suddenly grabbed my husband's phone from the table and threw it into the trash can. My husband was caught off guard.
What are you doing?
When he tried to retrieve the phone, my sister-in-law stopped him and said, Don't worry, it'll make you happier. You don't need these either, right? And started throwing all of his things into the trash. Hooray for minimalism! My husband argued back,
That's not what minimalism is all about!
but my sister-in-law overpowered him. This is exactly what you're doing, asshole. Damn, girl. She then turned to my in-laws and said, why are you both just sitting there and listening to this fool? I feel bad for Jill. We gotta take this guy home. And said to me, I'm so sorry. I'd be pissed if someone hid my important things too. Everything I'd bottled up inside just flooded me. I cried as I remembered how I felt when I was wiping the dust off my laptop the day before. After calming down a bit, I said, I'm sorry, but I think I need some time apart for a while. My sister-in-law said, for sure. We'll watch over him until he's sane enough to have a normal conversation. As she went to grab his arm, my husband shook her off and yelled,
Get out of here! Get out of my house!
Not now. Say goodbye to Jill. It's time to go home now.
Ah! You guys are crazy!
It was like watching a preschooler being caressed by his grown-up sister. He was pretty much dragged out by my in-laws after that, as I watched with my mother. I thought he would come to his senses at his parents' house, but he called me every day to say,
Please, let me throw away your things. It'll be better for you.
So I told him, if you want to throw my things away, we'll have to live separately. To which he replied,
Okay then. Maybe you just need time to think about it. Watch me, and you'll see that living a minimalist life is so much better.
And it was smoothly decided. My husband spent his savings to rent an apartment nearby. According to my sister-in-law, he had left the house with just a few sets of clothes, his phone, a laptop, and a book on minimalism. She reminded him, if Jill asks for a divorce, it's over. I hope you understand that. And she came to help out with my work that I was late on because of all the conflict. She seemed like a goddess to me. I was a little bit lonely without my husband, but I missed my old husband, not the new guy who was all religious about minimalism. I guess that if things didn't work out, I would have to get divorced. And if that's what he wanted, I would just have to accept the reality. But about a month in, I couldn't get in touch with my husband for 3 days straight. I had made plans to visit him with my sister-in-law that day. And when we arrived, we saw him sitting in the corner of a room with no curtains. All you could see was an empty box and an orange sunset, and my husband sitting on what looked like a nest made out of his work clothes and personal clothes. The backlight from the sunset gave him a reddish-black tone as he sat there alone, bobbing back and forth like a zombie as he cried. That was a sight that I'll never forget. He noticed us after we helped ourselves in with a duplicate key that I had.
I hate my life. I'm sorry, Jill. I won't be a minimalist anymore. I just want to go home. There's no point in cleaning if you don't own anything. Without things, this world would just be an empty desert. I see that now,
he said. My sister-in-law replied, You know nothing about this world, you fool. The whole situation was just funny, and I started laughing. My husband and sister-in-law started laughing too. I thought I would never get my old husband back. The relief that things would be back to normal made me cry as I laughed. They were happy tears. I don't know exactly what went through his mind, but I just live with a guy who loves to clean now. I'm still a little bit afraid that he might start throwing my things away one day, but I'm glad to be back to a peaceful life. I can't overstate my gratitude for my sister-in-law. How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.